Hey guys, Angus here with another airsoft gun video for you guys today. Today, as you can tell, we're outdoors, a little bit chilly as we start fall, and that's because we do have a performance test to do today. Not only are we going to be chronoing the gun currently in my hands, but we'll also be taking a few shots downrange at the target to see just how accurate it is and how effective its hop-up unit can be. Now, with that being said, the gun we're going to be testing out here is the Echo 1 Red Star IGOR Airsoft AEG, obviously with the false wood stock. Now, if you're interested in picking this thing up after you watch the video, there'll be a link down below in the description to airsoftStation.com where you can buy it for about $230. Now, with that being said, might as well stop talking and let's chrono this AEG. It's important to note that for our shooting tests and chronos, we use high-quality Elite Force BBs. Alright, so we have our Extratech chronograph set up and ready to go. Our hop-up is set to 0, and the IGOR is loaded up with 0.2 gram Elite Force BBs and has the stock 9.6 volt 1200 milliamp battery installed. So let's check out this weapon's feet per second. 378.5, 384.7, 381, 384.3, 386.7, 384.7, 385.1, 381.8, 384.7, and 387.3. So very consistent around the 380 to 385 feet per second area, with a little bit over ranging up 387, 386, etc. As far as rate of fire goes, I had a very difficult time actually chronoing this AEG's rate of fire, just because that magazine is so short. You have to constantly wind it, and that's a little bit hard to do trying to maneuver around the camera. Therefore, I got the best rating that I could, 722 rounds per minute, which, as you can see, converts into about 12 rounds per second. This still might be a little bit low, but it's a lot better than the previous readings I was getting of like 300 rounds per minute, which were obviously flukes. I imagine this thing actually shooting probably fires around the 800 rounds per minute area. It's just very difficult to chrono with that magazine. Okay, so taking a look at the chronograph results there, overall I can conclude that I'm pretty happy with the IGOR as far as the chrono ratings go. This is obviously an outdoor style gun, and we see a very consistent outdoor FPS of around the 380, 385 feet per second area with 0.2 gram BBs. Very good for outdoor play. Could be a little bit higher, but hey, nice to have straight out of the box, and great consistency too. Now, as far as the rate of fire goes, that was pretty darn hard to chrono, but we were seeing, I believe, around 750 rounds per minute or so. The trouble with chronoing this thing with rate of fire is simply that magazine's so short and that spring's so tiny. As you heard, even on semi, you have to constantly wind this thing to keep the flow of BBs going, and that's what ends up making it a little bit difficult to chrono and rate of fire. But the rate of fire we saw pretty respectable, so overall really nothing to complain about on a stock battery that comes with the gun. Now, with the chronograph portion of the video over, let's go ahead and take a few shots downrange at a target to test out this gun's accuracy. We're going to be switching a few things over. We'll be adjusting our hop-up, keeping the same battery, but we'll be switching to 0.25 gram BBs for the shooting test portion of the video. We're going to be firing from about 135 feet away at a rather small target, so let's see how this gun performs. with those last shots being fired, we can go ahead and hop into the final conclusion of this performance test video. As far as accuracy goes, I was pretty pleased with this AEG out of the box. A little bit happier on semi-auto. We hit the target the majority of the time, or at least hit the chair behind it there. A couple flyers once in a while off to the left or right, or a little bit under, but otherwise the hop-up stayed pretty true, and the BBs did come into contact pretty well at about 135 feet out. So you definitely do kind of get the sniper portion of this AEG embodied in this weapon as well. Now, full auto, the accuracy was decent, not necessarily the best. We did have a couple bursts where the BBs just kind of landed in front of the target a little bit, but I blame that a lot on the magazine. As you guys saw, you got to constantly wind this thing. If you're not constantly winding it, you know, my bursts were 3 BBs coming out, and that's not very effective as far as overall performance in a game goes. So the magazine disappoints me a little bit with the fact that it has to be constantly wound. Maybe I just don't like high caps, or maybe it's too short or something like that, but full auto accuracy was decent. It could be a lot better if I was able to keep up a good burst and continue to aiming without having to constantly reset myself in order to wind. So overall, the accuracy was decent. When it comes to feet per second, that was very good for a woodland style gun, very consistent, and the rate of fire was perfectly respectable out of the box. So overall, you get a decently performing AEG. The magazine is what cripples the gun for me with the constantly winding, but otherwise, setting the mag aside, perfectly solid performance for a woodland style AEG right out of the box. Good quality product from Echo One when it comes to the performance aspect of the AEG. And with that being said, guys, this has been IGOR Airsoft's performance test of the Echo One Red Star IGOR Airsoft AEG. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe.